Good afternoon, everybody. Great news. What a wonderful way to wake up on night shift here doing the nuclear reactor at Darlington. Um, yeah, takes a lot of energy out of you. I'll give it a few minutes to let people log on, but just great news today. What a wonderful way to wake up. So we'll see, and I'll give it some time, let people log on. Always takes a little bit. I see people are starting to come in, so we'll get underway. So great news. The ICC Forum, International Criminal Court. I'm going to be in. I got in, so isn't that just fantastic? Fantastic for members, founding members of the CCP, Canadian Constitutionalist Party, going on a big platform. What an incredible invite. A lot of hard work, a lot of determination. 2 years of work, everybody. I finally got in. I'm going to get audience with the former president, several of the justices of that highest court in the world, and prosecutors. It's an amazing feat, let alone for an average Joe Jane Canadian. It's monumental. I'm so happy. So they're working on that. They got the IT, so I'm going to get registered, and I will get to be in that forum. I'll get to interact. I'll get to communicate and talk with them and share some information, as well as the follow-up of that. So that came in. I'm just delighted. Sent the email back. It's already past the time of day in the UK. Of course, it's evening now there, but they will get it in the morning. So my registration should go forward, and I'll be in it. What a just so much work, everybody. You just can't believe it. More than that, I get a whole slew of stuff that the UK Parliament just pushed through on human rights and their P5 power. This is the House of Lords in the UK. And this is a high academic, highest legal system in the world group, which are United Kingdom members, citizens and members of all of that. So they send, a think tank group sends me this idea that what do you think of what the House of Lords just put through? And they put through having human rights applied to their country, their highest levels of government, and making them accountable. But I sent back and I said, hold it, you're a UNSC P5 member, as well as France, China, Russia, and USA. If you armbar yourself on that world stage, if the House of Lords wishes to armbar the United Kingdom's government, they're literally going to take away that 007 power. I just call it that. 007 is a fictional franchise, but that actual power that the UK is entitled to in this world is there. They really are allowed an MI6 or a 007, so to speak. We watch USA engage in that. France is engaged in that many times. So is Russia, beyond any kind of measure of the franchise of 007. Not with all the theatrics, but literally they can order executions at the snap of a finger. There's nothing the rest of the world can do about it when they deem it necessary. So UK wishes to armbar that and make their government accountable. However, with Brexit and everything else, I don't suggest they do. I wouldn't, when we have a world of countries like China and Russia, or even USA. Sometimes USA doesn't operate in the best interests of world as it is. And it's important to have the five with different views, but never armbar that power. And maybe the House of Lords made a mistake here. Now, they didn't add war crimes to their government. They did remove that in this recent bill, but they did put a lot of other things in there. Maybe they shouldn't. That's all I'm saying. But that's neither here nor there. The reality is, everybody, I'm going to be in that forum. I'm going to get the answers that no other Canadian, probably in the history of Canada, could ever get. I'm going to get those answers live and in first person, and I'm going to meet the former president of the ICC, who is also trained in Canadian law, believe it or not. even though he's from Africa originally. He did do law there, but he also completed it and got his bar in Canada. So it should be interesting. I'm going to have a good talk with him. He's very familiar with how Africa works and the whole independent scenario on the world stage. So this is important for Canadians. It's important for me. It's important for our party. And to sit with those kind of great minds for 1 hour of a day that you could never get ever. I mean, I could probably fly to one of these things, but in COVID-19, if anything great came from COVID-19, as bad as it all is the ability to reach out and be in forum with these kinds of people. If you can read the material, if you can understand international law and you can translate that, you can get into these forums. And that's what I've done. I've done something that no other Canadian's done. It's unbelievable. Second part of this video I want to get into was Tina Maravich. She shared with me a release right here in Ontario of a whole bunch of nations, 39 of them. They're all Ojibwe. And I don't want to say the name of the group because I don't have the accent and I won't say it right. I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to practice it several times. But I'm going to be in talks with them. It's just super exciting. And I want to put this in the video. This is for all First Peoples and absolutely all Canadians. With our Constitution in Canada, we call it the boat people, okay? That's everybody who's immigrated to Canada that wasn't of the First Peoples, the First Nations who were here first, who had this continent established, and we all know what happened through colonialism. But getting into what is important here is the boat people, which is us. That's me, that's any immigrant who comes to Canada to settle life and get citizenship through Canada, the country of Canada. And what we have to get across here is this. In our Constitution, everybody, there are no rules of governance, very, very little federally, just very little codified rules of governance. It gives a divinity of crown. Now, everybody's hearing that from me. I know you get that. Second stage is that the Constitution divided powers and the rights of the people, all of us, into a federal and provincial empowerment. So premiers get a pile of rights, your actual civil rights. In that scenario of every province and territory, there are absolutely no regional rules of governance or how to govern. You elect a premier, they get a majority, they run absolutely autocratically. And even in the scenarios with the opposition that's strong enough in a minority government, they're likely to bend because they're in that autocratic power themselves. They take higher wages, they increase how much they can take in write-offs and what they can expense, and they just raise these accounts to a first-class citizen status against all of you. So the reality of them ever representing the people is nil. It doesn't matter which party, they can work together, and they do, for the greater good of the political system, the establishment, and how fat they can make their wallets. That's generally every political party. They will all gravitate to that. So that's good. Everybody understands that. But then there's a third tier, and it's the municipalities, the communities, and what's happening to 39 nations in Ontario, and what through the Indian Act and through Perry Bellegarde, what he's trying to push Ontario First Nations underneath the umbrella of the powers of the provincial government from the Boat People's Canadian Constitution, which is all Canadian citizens. What they're trying to force the First Peoples into is, we're going to try to reclassify you like a municipality. What does that mean? And this is for all Canadians and First Peoples. When you get into municipal, guess what? You're giving all of your rights, all of the authority of government to the provincial leader. That's absolute. There are all kinds. You can look at every municipal act of every province or territory. All of them have extreme rules of governance subject to change any time a premier wishes to change it. And there is nothing any community, municipality can do about it. Tons and tons of ever-changing rules of governance. They can mess around with municipalities at will. They can change counties, change rules, which we're seeing. I'm going to give a prime example. So this is important for First Nations to pay attention. You don't want to get into that kind of system because it's even worse than the federal one. As bad as evil as the Indian Act is, it's 10 times worse if you become a municipality or a county status within that federal system, giving the division of power to the province to rule over your municipality or community any way they see fit, and they can amend and change the laws at will with every governing power, including throwing you off your land. That is true. They can arbitrarily do that. Liberal Party of Alberta sends an email going into the Rockies and coal, and now we're getting into communities and counties again too. They're going to be affected. We can look at Jason Kenney as premier, who just ruined a pile of rural communities who had an established deal to allow oil wells drilled on their farms. They get so much tax credits, so much revenue for giving up their cropland to a developer. And then they do that. And then what does the government come along and do? Arbitrarily didn't even go through the MLAs of these communities. Those MLAs want to rebel, but they can't because it's absolute autocracy, zero codified constitutions, no rules of governance provincially. All of those farmers will see upwards of $30,000 bills in those Alberta communities, as well as all the major municipalities, not major, small towns, let's say some villages, there's many. People are going to see a $1,500 to $3,000 increase in their residential property taxes. Was this mandated by the municipality? No, it was absolutely autocratically done by the premier, 100%. Shortfalling the municipalities, so they have no choice. They have to follow these provincial laws, absolute, ever-changing laws, and it's what leads municipalities to rebel and want to leave and get out of a system, and they don't understand why this is happening to them. It's because you have a premier, any premier you elect, who can arbitrarily at any point through their ministry and armbar every single MLA. That is the only rules of governance. 3 people run every single political party in any province or territory arbitrarily. They can destroy any MLA they wish by the stroke of a pen and a phone call. That's reality. It's called the party whip. The real one, the legal one, in legal terminology. First Nations, as bad as the Indian Act is, you don't want to transfer the powers of that to the provinces because they're even more autocratic than the already extremely autocratic federal government. As much as I hate that too, and I'm not justifying, I'm just saying it will get worse if you give that power. If you give that power over and allow the vote to go through as it did, or it is, 25% plus 1, why would a minority voting rule take precedent? How is that even constitutional in the country of Canada? The evil of the provinces knows no bounds, as it's inherited. It's a division of powers from the federal crown authority, which is almost limitless autocratic control crown power. Very few designated positions of crown. That's what's codified in the Constitution. Not we the people, not the First Peoples, First Nations. I use these terminologies because I'm white and I say it like that. But this is the best this boat person can explain to those on the canoe and to all Canadians who are fellow boat people. But this is reality. We all got to know these things and we all got to go forward with it. UK is learning as I'm on this major forum, and man, it's just incredible where I've gone. It's unbelievable, unprecedented by a third class citizen, and it really is mind over matter. And COVID-19, if anything it did for this guy, was bring me to the best of the best in absolutely every forum of the world. And as long as I can read and I can process and get it right, these people are interested. And just delightful, everybody. Just a delightful way to wake up today. I am getting wore out from the nukes, and that's quickly. The suits are heavy, nuclear reactor core getting in there. It's unbelievable, an experience not very many people in this world are ever going to experience, but it takes a toll. It wipes out the body, and I'm only a few days into it, so I can imagine this process of work I got for the next month is going to take a lot out of me. So be patient. I'm adjusting, and it takes a toll. It's an uncharted territory for me. I mean, I'm a tradesman, but it's a lot to get used to, and I'm getting there. I will get used to it, but it's going to be a tough month for me. So thank you, everybody. Share this out. It's huge. It's important, and I can't wait. I'm going to be on a forum with the ICC Best of the Best, top court of the world. What do you guys think of that? Just amazing. Just amazing. I'm just truly blessed today. What a way to wake up. Great day. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Share. A lot of important information here. ICC is monumental, and that may be monumental too for First Nations. Get that out, because the success rate I have here is not just for all Canadians. It's going to be for the First people too. And yes, this will lead in to Pastor Coates. I've never forgotten anybody. It's getting the job done the right way, as it's unprecedented. I'm the first. So thank you, everybody. God bless. Have a great day. Enough rambling. Share. Bye now.